Folks, it looks like we are live. Hey folks, how you doing? This is Kurt with LifterLMS. In fact, stay right there. Let me make this official. There we go. The LifterLMS hat is in place. I'd like to welcome Magic Will Middleton to the call. Magic Will, thank goodness you are here, my friend. I went to the form where people are supposed to put in their questions when they pre-register, and you know what I saw there? Goose egg, baby. Goose egg, no questions.
Oh.
But I did go over to support, and I found a rather vague, ambiguous question that I thought, oh my goodness, if we need content today, we'll just go down this road because we haven't done this together in a while. Do you want to take a stab at what it could be?
Yeah, for sure.
I said, do you want to take a stab at it? And then you were like, yeah, and then you didn't guess.
Oh, I thought you meant like take a stab at the question and solving it.
Oh, we could totally take a stab at solving the question. The question was written in more of a statement than a question. It says, hello, I need to know more about SkyPilot on how to improve our website, specifically the functions, appearance, and to improve the overall look and navigation if using mobile. So, mobile first design, that's a very noble thing to say. But dude, SkyPilot, I know that we've got videos. I know that we've got tutorials. I know that we've got things, but we've got some space in this call. So maybe we could just jump in and talk about the ease of full site editing, maybe a couple of the stumbling blocks you and I found with the navigation menu, and then, of course, just looking at it from a mobile perspective.
Yeah, for sure. I got my demo site up here so I can share that. So if we share screen, all of our...
Oh, I'm sorry. I stepped right over you. But while Will is getting ready to do a screen share on that, I'm going to put a link in that says get 55% off coupon right here. So one of the things that we say at the beginning and at the end of this stream, folks, is, this is for you. This time that we spend here, this is meant to be customer service. It's meant to be for you. And so we want to make sure that you know that you can get a 55% off coupon by going to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift Also, it looks like Matusa's in. He says he's got a question, but he can certainly submit it through comments. Dude, you are not locked out. Welcome to the call. Submit that through the comment section. And just to make sure that I'm not making that up as we go, I'll throw this banner up that says LifterLMS pre-sales, Q&A questions go in the chat. We call this an Ask Me Anything call. So I know it says pre-sales, but if you're already using LifterLMS and you've got a question about how something works, don't be bashful. Jump in, put the question in comments, and Will and I will do our best over the next 57 minutes to give you that space. Will, sorry about stepping all over you, man, but the screen is yours.
You're good. So if I jump into the back end of my Lifter demo site here, if you questions about LifterLMS SkyPilot, LifterLMS SkyPilot is the default theme you'll find on our demo sites, lifterlms.com/try. If you've ever done a Lifter demo site, you may have seen SkyPilot in the back end here. So if we jump over to themes, this is where we see which theme in our website is active, appearance themes. And so some of the most popular ones in the community, right, are Cadence, Astra, SkyPilot. These are some of the most common themes you'll see working with LifterLMS. And I think that they're the most well-supported themes. And of course, Lifter works with just about any theme in WordPress. And even if like sidebars don't work with your theme, there's ways to get it supported. But these three here are going to be the most popular ones we'll see. And diving into SkyPilot, it has a unique editing style. It uses the full site editor. So I clicked on appearance editor. I don't know if you saw that. It's I'll unpack here. It's a new thing inside of WordPress that we'll see a lot more over the next 10 years. But at the current time, it feels very new technology. We see it in WordPress core themes. We see it in SkyPilot, but we don't see it in a lot of other places. But themes editor. What this does is it launches a whole different experience for how we're going to design our website. For people who are newer to WordPress, you may have come into WordPress at a time when the block editor was standard. Like you opened a WordPress page, and I go to add new. Here we are. So we add a title and we add blocks. So about page or something. My about page. But here we can add blocks. And so this might be normal to you to be like, oh, I build a website with blocks. But if you're used to WordPress before blocks, when there was like the tiny MCE editor or the WYSIWYG editor, where you just had kind of like a text box on the page, this full site editor can be kind of challenging. But basically what it is just building your headers, your footers, and some templates with blocks. So it's taking this feature to build pages and extending it into things like the header. I think the biggest learning curve here is to learn where things are at. And things change names sometimes. So there used to be like header used to, I think, be in templates or something, but this interface sometimes changes. They create new things like a synced pattern, and regular patterns are a thing, and a synced pattern is like a global block where if you were to update it in one place, it would update in multiple places, or a non-synced pattern is just a one-time use thing. So there's a few new things to learn. And so, for example, if I wanted to edit my header, that's a good question here for mobile first. If we jump to patterns and then we scroll down, template parts are would be like our header and our footer. But like if we look at like if that's a part of a template, then what is a template? Looking at our template here, we can see this. We've actually seen this in WordPress for a long time. But if I jump to my page editor over here on the right, template pages is something that's kind of been sneaky. It's been sitting there for a while, but we haven't really paid much attention to it. So I see templates pages. And if I look at this, I can see that this, if I were to edit this, let's see what we're looking at here. This is what our template for pages is going to look like. This page right here, I'm editing the content area, right? But the content area is just this block right here. So everything that I build in terms of blocks on this page, like if I were to go like this, do a column, and I'll put a big, well, I did a single column, but I was going to do 2 columns, but this is a little less interesting, but still cool. Let's put a picture of this building here. This is a part of my content area. So even I could add multiple blocks here. So if I do the paragraph, this is not my dream house. This is this dream house. I don't always have great examples of like what to write on websites. When I do tutorials, I'm like, this is my dream house. Like that's not what we usually write at LMS sites. But just as an example, we're gonna view the page, and it's gonna look different. Like, so we have 2 blocks. We have this paragraph, and we have this image, but we also have our header and our footer, and that's because both the image and the paragraph are a part of this content block, and then our header and footer are dynamically pulled in because these are parts of templates. We can either edit these header and footers right here, or we can jump back out to this template parts area. If I were to go to patterns, find the template parts at the bottom, and edit the header, I could have like multiple headers on my website, include different headers and different templates, create different templates for different pages. I can even create my own custom page template and apply it to whatever pages I want. So some pages look one way, some pages look a different way. That's a big overview about how this whole editor works. But when it comes to mobile friendly, let's take a look at our options here. So if I jump back to that page template I was looking at, and we edit this thing, there should be a mobile option. Here it is, upper right corner. There's like this view button. Usually I click view in new tab. This is where I preview things, but you can actually go to tablet, you can go to mobile, and you can see what this will look like on that device. And my recommendation is to pull out your phone and actually give yourself a link so you can check this out as you're building it. My recommendation is to just have it on your phone so you can kind of reload as you go. Because some things might look a little bit different. Another thing that you can do that's really interesting is if we view the site, it's going to be the desktop version, but I can like squeeze this down. I just closed my browser window, made it really small. And so this is what mobile would look like as well. So that's a way you can do mobile responsive development. I think this is a big challenge with mobile responsiveness. And the last thing I'll say, because I've been talking for a minute, is that some blocks don't allow you to have mobile responsive settings. So like if I were to look at, I don't know, like what would need mobile responsive settings, like this buttons block maybe.
I was thinking like columns. Like if you have 4 columns or 5 columns, there's an option to stack on mobile.
Yeah.
Like when you have a gallery, it'll say stack on mobile, so then it's just one on top of the other. Right.
So if we jump into a column or a gallery, 30%. So if we install, I'm gonna use images as placeholders because they're pretty visual. this picture. We're going to duplicate this a couple times. And one thing I like to use in these full site editors is this document overview thing so that I can more easily see what's going on with my nested layout. It's like a column block with a few things within it. So this doesn't exactly have the best mobile options. So I jump over here and I'm like, well, how do I stack this on mobile? How do I change things on mobile? You really can't. But I'll show you how you can in a second. Show you a little workaround. So we're here, we have our 3 images, and then I go to mobile. It kind of stacks itself whenever it wants to. But if I wanted to have control over that as the website creator, I could. What I would do is I would install free plugins like either Spectra or Cadence blocks. Those are both free plugins that work well. You can find them under plugins, add new. I have Cadence blocks already installed, so I'm going to use that one. And if these block packs add things that WordPress doesn't have out of the box. So I was trying to do a 33%, like, 3 columns. And so here, now that I've done my Cadence block instead of this default WordPress block, it gives me all kinds of crazy options over here on the right. So it gives me more customization to dive into. You can see padding can change for tablet and mobile. It gives you those tablet and mobile formatting styles and different backgrounds for different devices. It unlocks more worlds for customization if you're interested in that. But I think the WordPress editor is good out of the box. I recommend that you install as little as you need. But if you feel like I definitely need to change the pixel formatting for mobile, then this is an option you do have.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about Spectra and Cadence blocks when they give you those extra features is when you go to, so I'm not a mobile first builder, even though that's a common thing people say. They go, oh, mobile first. I'm like desktop first. And then I go, oh, crud, now I got to make sure it works on phones. And then invariably my hero image will have like giant text on it or minute text on a giant picture. So something doesn't look right. And what's cool is when you can change those perspectives, when you change the view from desktop to tablet to mobile in those 2 tools, you get the option to style the text or style the image for that tool. And so that works really well. I enjoy that. Well, thank you so much doing that. You're so much more efficient and better at that than I am. We did get a question from Matus. So, and if I'm saying your name wrong, I totally apologize, Matus. I'm just going for it. All right. You said, I wanted to add a CRB. Now, I'm assuming you meant CRM because the M is on the other side of the N button on my keyboard. But I wanted to add a CRM to my website and consider Fluent CRM. What is your experience with it and Lifter? And I see that you've got a follow-up question here, but let me just take the suspense out of it. I'm a Fluent CRM user, Matu, so it's a great decision. So for me, if I'm thinking about a CRM to work within my website, there's 2 that I really consider. One is Groundhog and the other is Fluent CRM. And I've got some projects on Groundhog and I've got some projects on Fluent CRM. I've got different reasoning and different use case ideas as to why I do that. And sometimes that's driven by my customer. So whenever I'm working with clients, I usually like to do a deep dive on use case, do a needs assessment, and figure out what their comfort level is. Groundhog comes with a bunch of other tools in it. So it can do birthday reminders. It integrates directly with LifterLMS. It has automation tools that you can use. It's got a sales pipeline. It's got a project management module in it. It's got a ton of stuff. And I really like Groundhog because of when you click on contacts, it gives you a full, really nicely displayed page of everything that user's done in the website. What blog posts they visited, what product they bought, what comments they've made, purchases they've made. It's all in there. Now, Fluent CRM does something similar in their contact listing, but I don't believe it's as robust, or at least in appearance and in presentation as Groundhog's is. So I'm just throwing that out there. Fluent CRM, however, got to remember, Fluent is a suite of products. So you've got Fluent CRM, you've got Fluent Form. Each of those has a pro version. So there's Fluent Forms Pro, Fluent CRM Pro. Fluent CRM Pro also integrates directly with LifterLMS And bonus, you don't have to do a thing. You just install it and activate it, and it automatically sees LifterLMS and integrates with it. So it's a really cool tool for a LifterLMS powered website. They has the ability to do, the sales funnels, the email sequences. It can sync with your user database from your WordPress users list, and can also do automations. So you could say, fill in this contact form or fill in this lead magnet form, and automatically get enrolled in this sample course that leads to an upsell mail sequence and all of that kind of stuff. Fluent also has Fluent support, and they also have Fluent booking. So if you think about Fluent from the standpoint of scalability in your business and your future business needs, Fluent is a really good option for that. So I've really killed you with a Fluent commercial on that. So let me go to your follow-up question. I need to provide my users about their progress and the results of questionnaire over the scope of the online training. Absolutely, you can take results and forward those to people through a CRM with integration. What are the ways to conduct the same quiz questionnaire 3 times at the beginning of a course, in the middle after 3 weeks, and at the end after 6 weeks? Matus, I did a very similar thing. I wrote and published a book on leadership, and I did a course that has a lesson as a pre-assessment, a lesson in the middle as a mid-assessment, and a lesson at the end as a post-assessment. So what I used was the course and lesson structure, and then I just embedded a form that served as kind of like a survey or an assessment, where I see the results and the student sees the results, and that's where that lies. If you wanted to make that more of a unscored quiz, you can make it an unscored quiz, and then those results would be stored in the LifterLMS reporting. So it just depends on your use case and where you want the data to end up. Provide the user with some kind of visualization or table of the results. Most of our stuff in LifterLMS would get exported as like a CSV file, like an Excel spreadsheet, not necessarily a table. But and I'm sure we'll jump in on this, you could, since it's data, you could have an automation or a customization done where you export things as a table or a pie chart or something like that. And you can see the progress. Yeah, LifterLMS reporting always shows the progress. So I think if you look at a CRM tool, because first off, I'm really jumping the shark. I got all excited because you wanted to talk about Fluent, and I like Fluent. But LifterLMS out of the box comes with a whole list of engagements that you can put in place and a whole list of notifications in the system that are there. So those transactional messages can absolutely happen through the standard LifterLMS setup. And so you can set up engagements to be like, they completed a quiz, they completed a course, they finished a lesson, they enrolled in a course. There's all these triggers that can send either a certificate, an award, or an email, or there's notifications for things like, enrolled or, made a purchase. And so those things come standard. But to your point, if you wanted to put a CRM in place and up-level your communication through your website, Fluent's a great choice. But how do I display the progress to the user? The progress to the user, if you're using the course and lesson structure, dude, is just going to show up right through the dashboard, and that's out of the box. So let me jump into I've got a demo site here. Let me open that up. I'll go in, present, share screen, demo. So here we are in the back end of one of my demo sites. And if we go back to the front page and we go to welcome Emily, where is the dashboard for Emily? Dashboard, benefits, shop, log out, groups, community. Is this welcome? This is Emily. Here's the dashboard. And right here, you're going to be able to see my profile, my courses, my grades, my memberships, my groups. And so when the user clicks on any of those, they're going to go right to a list of their courses, and it's going to show them their progress. And if you've given them anything that contains a grade, you're going to see the grade. And that comes straight out of the box with Lifter. The dashboard, the free core LifterLMS plugin gives you that ability. If you wanted to develop something higher level and force feed data via email to somebody or something like that, you could develop that, because obviously the data is in the site and it's able to be extracted. We got more. I mean, the assessment survey. Well, that might go into a whole other topic, because I know that Will talks about Gravity Forms and Gravity View. Those are good tools, because you're talking about having them send an assessment and then have them see what they filled in themselves on their own assessment. So like if they filled out a survey, you want to show them exactly what they filled in on the survey. You could share the results of the form. With Gravity and Gravity View, you could actually automate that process and send it via email. I'm not sure if you can do that with Fluent Forms Pro, because I've never tried. Will, what do you think?
Yeah, I know you can do that with Gravity Forms. I know Ninja Forms, but probably Formidable Forms. When you want people to review their progress throughout your course, I think there's a few ways you can do that. And you're entering into territory where you're integrating LifterLMS with other things. LifterLMS has a bunch of integrations with like Gravity Forms, Ninja Forms, Formidable, and WP Forms. You can do creative things like having people submit a form to complete a lesson. That's actually a video we have planned, Feature Friday. Like, I think it might be next week. I don't know. It might be the week after, but where you require submission of forms in order to complete a lesson. So you could have people complete a survey as a part of lesson 1. And I would recommend doing that, where, like Kurt said, some kind of forms plugin. Gravity Forms is a premium one, so maybe you could get away with a cheaper one, like maybe a Formidable. I don't know which ones have free versions. Maybe, I think WP Forms is a free version, and I think you could put text boxes in it, and I think you could like email yourself. You might need a pro version of a forms extension, but either way, LifterLMS has integrations with these form extensions to require people to submit those forms for lessons. So my recommendation is to have, throughout your course, sometimes you'll have a lesson with a survey in it that has a form that you have to submit to complete the lesson. And then the challenge then is like, how are you going to display that to the user again of like what they submitted in their form? I mean, I have a couple ways in my mind. In my mind's eye, but I guess there might be a more efficient way to do this. Because like you could send emails, right? You can email them when they submit the form. You can email yourself when they submit the form. I'm in a program right now who's actually run by someone who has a LifterLMS website, and they just email me the submission, the form. So like the only log that I have of this is in my email inbox, and that's perfectly suitable. But if you are trying to get more advanced with it, I think that having the microphone is speaking. I think if you're trying to get more advanced, having LifterLMS custom fields is an interesting one, because all of those forms tools allow you to update user profiles. They allow you to update meta fields. So if anyone, I guess I could show this because it's kind of complicated. If anyone's not familiar with what a meta field is, it's a big part of the LifterLMS custom fields add-on. If you go to LifterLMS forms, this is where we edit our billing information and stuff. But if you have the custom fields add-on, you have a couple extra features like the ability to add new forms. But we're kind of hacking the tools here. This isn't really what it's meant to do, but checkout for nothing. This is just a sample checkout, because we're actually addressing this use case where we say we need a text input field. Where's the text area? That's it. And this is formatted perfectly. This would be called survey question 1. And then like I would just duplicate this. So you'd have survey question 1 and survey question 2. And I'd recommend getting deep into this because we're really trying to customize the experience a lot. My recommendation is always go for the simplest route, and that's not this. The simplest route is to have it in emails or have it in like maybe a LifterLMS private areas where you receive the form as the instructor and direct message it to the student. I like private areas for this use case too. But if you're really trying to get fancy, really interested in investing in the tools, you can do this. Then on my profile, I don't know if they show up until somebody actually fills it out. I don't think they do. That's kind of annoying. Because what that means is, actually have to, I mean, if I put up my edit account information, does it show up there? The challenge is like, I don't think custom fields populate on the backend user profiles until
you use it.
yeah. So if I go text area again, and if you're a little, don't worry, this will be clear in a second. Field 1, that's field 2, field 2. So you can make a billion fields for each of your survey questions over time. Let's hope that this displays on my edit profile screen. Edit accounts down here. Oh, here it is. So, ASDF2. Okay, so now that this is available, what you can do is you can see this on the back end of WordPress in every single user's profile. You'll see that there is field 1, field 2. And so you'd make a bunch of fields for each of your survey questions, and then you use something like Gravity Forms, WP Forms, whatever forms tool you'd like to populate those fields. And then you can use little shortcodes to like display users information of like, hey, this is what you submitted on lesson 2, and then just grab information that they submitted earlier in the course with little shortcodes. So that's really fancy.
Yeah, and this call is meant to be like a beginner's kind of thing, right? Because we have a more advanced call we do later in the day. But each of those fields, as Will just pointed out, has a unique identifier. So you can create a shortcode to display that somewhere else using that unique identifier. So that's kind of what he was trying to say there. But I wanted to make sure that we kind of cleared that. It's not like you don't just copy and paste it from profile to some page. You have to embed it with shortcode using that unique identifier.
It's pretty easy to find the identifier. I'd recommend renaming your meta fields, definitely for a developer-oriented person to take a look at that. But once you're in, you can do these little shortcodes. Lifter has all these little shortcodes, and it includes these ones that you've created as part of custom fields. So you can just drop in these shortcodes right in your text editors. That's nice.
Bazoom. Well, apparently something in all of our ramblings worked, because Matus writes, thanks a lot. Something worked.
Also, I think I'll take a shot. I think Mateos. Let me know in the comments. I think that's how you pronounce it. I listened to a 15-second ad for a video that say how to pronounce. So I think it's Mateos.
You had to do that. You had to make me look bad.
No, I don't think it makes it look bad. I watched a 15-second ad.
All right. And you want to grab the next question there? I'm going to grab the link that helps answer it.
Yeah. Tom Zimmerman in chat. Hi guys. This is perfect magic, Bill. Hell yeah. Okay. Hi guys. I've got clients that want to do a live webinar. What's the support like for that? Host on-site, host off-site, recommended providers if off-site. There's a lot of solutions for doing webinars. Kurt likes one called something.io. What was the one you like?
I personally use on my own site one called Whereby. Whereby.com. WHEREBY.com. The most common one that people are going to see is Zoom. So that's why I put the resource to embedding Zoom into the chat. So embed the Zoom resource. So we wrote a blog on exactly how to put Zoom on your website. Again, that's a branding thing. Almost everybody knows what Zoom is. So boom, now you can do, whatever your format is for Zoom, you can do that in your website. But there's a key word in the question, if I put that back on the screen here, Will, and that is live webinar. Mm-hmm. If you have paid for the upgraded version of StreamYard and you can do webinars like Will and I are doing here, you're able to take that webinar and a code for the webinar and embed that directly into your website. And so if webinars is what you are actually doing, then directly from StreamYard, a simple embed, it's literally copy the code, paste the code, good to go. If you're looking to do meetings, which is different than webinars, if you're looking to do meetings, then Zoom is probably your go-to because of the ubiquitous nature of the brand and people will be comfortable using it. However, my personal preference is, and I'll put the link in here. I use a tool called whereby.com, and whereby.com, when you first sign into it, I'm not going to lie, it's a little confusing because it's basically a tool made for developers. And so there's all these resources on APIs and codes and how to make an automation and all these things. But in reality, it allows you to make an online meeting that you can run as a webinar, and it gives you a simple embed code that you can just put right into your website wherever you want it, any page. So that could be in a course, in a lesson page, on a private page. If you're using membership restriction, you could say, hey, buy this membership to get access to this page, to access our live workshop meeting. I mean, you can do all kinds of things. The world is your oyster in that regard. And all of these are very viable solutions. There's also one that's out there that a lot of people seem to like. It's not free. It's called Jitsi. And I'll put Jitsi's link in there too. Jitsi, the system's catching up. So Jitsi is another, it's like a Zoom tool. It's a paid tool. It's pretty premium, works really well. And I've used it on desktop and mobile. And I've used it on mobile, like in a moving vehicle, right? Like even with a weaker signal, it's worked really, really well. So you've got a ton of options to put that stuff in there. And if you need more information, other than just looking at the resource on how to embed Zoom, you can always hit us up at help@lifterlms.com, help@lifterlms.com, and we can send you some other resources if you come up blank on your own.
Yeah, I like StreamYard. I've been getting a StreamYard recently. I'm gonna need to upgrade to that like $540 a year one. That's like the one where you can do webinars and like streaming. I've been on the like $200 plan, and it's like you only can do 720p streaming. But the nice thing about StreamYard is it's multi versatile. I don't know how you would say that, but I can like stream
multi-channel.
Yeah, you can stream to different businesses. So I could say like I could link up a ton of my accounts, a bunch of YouTube channels, and a bunch of different things. I can choose which platforms I'm going to stream to at that time. And so it is a really interesting way to work with influencers. It's an interesting way to do your own webinars. It's just that at a premium where like Zoom, you can usually get away with a lower price point for a while.
Yeah, Tom's got a follow-up question, and I kind of want to tackle this one if I could, Will. He says, great resources, thanks. Another provider they were currently considering is LearnPress for an LMS. Can you provide some information on how LifterLMS would be a better option? First things first, Tom, from me personally, you're not really going to hear me make any disparaging remarks about any competitors. All of them have some kind of a benefit or a value. Okay. But I will tell you why I left corporate America and joined LifterLMS as a customer after doing extensive research. Hopefully this will be a fair enough and very transparent answer. I used to use custom built websites that ran score material that cost $500,000, $600,000 plus, $300,000-$400,000 a year to host, and just crazy top products, like top tier products. And I knew there had to be a better way. I knew that it didn't make sense. There was no logic in today's world why somebody would pay $300,000-$400,000 to host score material on a website with 2,500 active users. It never made sense to me. And so I started looking for options that led me to WordPress. And I had looked at, Bridge, Learnupon, SumTotal, some Moodle applications. I looked at all these things. And so then I went into the WordPress market and I looked at LearnDash, LearnPress, TutorLMS, Sensei, and I looked at all these things. And like I said, all of them have some value. All of them have some function that they bring to the table and may meet some use cases or may meet some need requirements. So I'm going to leave that there. But for me, I had a question about LifterLMS while I was doing the research, and Chris Badgett reached out to me directly. He's the owner of LifterLMS. This was almost 9 years ago. So I don't know of any other company where I got that kind of service. Then I found out they had this thing called office hours, and I used to be on office hours like once a week, just signing in. It was a combined Zoom call with professionals from all over the world, and we would discuss not just LifterLMS, but everything that kind of does with the strategy, the technical side, just hanging out with people in that same mind space. And I saw a lot of value in that. Then I finally joined the team during the pandemic and met folks like Will. There was someone on the team named Natalie that I really liked. And through working with them, I began to realize this is the community that I want to associate with. LifterLMS has both the membership tools and the learning management tools. And so a lot of other WordPress-based LMSs, they're going to say, well, here's our module to put in lessons. Here's our module to put in courses. Here's our module for quizzes. And it kind of Frankenstein's together to make a functional LMS. But what's missing is, what if I have blog posts that I only want certain members or certain users to see? How am I going to manage those memberships? And how am I going to create a sales pipeline or a user experience in my website so that people can access the content I work so hard to build? And to me, that's where LifterLMS really came to life and really shined. Shone's the word. And so with LifterLMS, you have a native payment gateway, you have membership controls, you have learning content controls, and then you have premium add-ons if you want them to add things like CRM integrations and social tools and the ability for students to be able to communicate with each other within the website. And there's also a thing called private areas where instructors can actually have private conversations with students, but it's all stored within the website. So you don't have that weirdness of like teachers texting students and stuff, because that gets weird. But if it's done through the website, keeps things accountable. So hopefully I nailed a ton of things for you in that answer. But when you say, how would LifterLMS be a better option? This call, this live that we do every week is a really great example of why we're the better option, because I don't know too many other providers that are offering this. The cost makes sense, the features make sense, and the service is awesome. Will, anything to add? Will's like, I'm hungry.
I am hungry. I'm having my like breakfast of pills and blueberries and some like chocolate milk from last night. It's like a banana almond dairy-free beverage or whatever. But yeah, I think it's all about finding which solution is right for you. I think it's true that multiple solutions could be workable for you. I think for me, it's always just a matter of test them out, see which ones work for you, and go with your gut. I don't know. You can examine all the features back and forth, and there are probably some good comparison posts out there. You want to make sure that the information is not outdated at all. I know like those AI tools got really good at searching the internet recently, so you could also ask those tools of like, yo, can you give me a breakdown comparison as an expert in the LMS space and these different tools, and see if it gives you anything interesting. It might, but I don't know. Yeah, I haven't done as much work with LearnPress, mostly Lifter.
Yeah, and through my associations, I still get to work with other tools. I've worked with Docebo, Docebo, you call it whatever you want. I think it's out of Italy, Docebo. I've worked with that. I've worked for some custom Moodle applications. Again, Bridge and LearnUpon, SumTotal. I still have some customers that are on LearnDash, believe it or not. And then, of course, we've got, a ton that are on Lifter. So I like this one. Do we have a way to host videos in LifterLMS? Siren, first off, hi. I put up that hi before for you. It's good to see you on the call. Video is an intrepid mistress of WordPress in general. So people will always ask us, hey, you can host video in WordPress. How come I don't just put the videos in my site? I recently, I should have known better. I should have looked harder, but I didn't. I agreed to migrate somebody's website, and they had all of their videos in the media bin. It was 16 gigabytes worth of stuff. That made it almost impossible to try and move things over without things breaking. Typically, a best practice, any WordPress site, not just LifterLMS, any WordPress site, you're going to want to have a video host your videos. And for us, that could be Vimeo, Wistia, or just YouTube, but some kind of host that is specifically designed to host video. And then, of course, you're using a WordPress managed host, hopefully for your WordPress site, which is optimized to run the content that a WordPress site would run, right? And so if you kind of split your content and just embed the videos from the video host, that's the way to go. Now, we've got a tool called Advanced Videos with LifterLMS. So if you're looking for some advanced tools to try and monitor, does the student watch the whole video? Does the video start over where they left off? Do they have to finish the video before they go to the next lesson or take the quiz? All of that can happen by using Vimeo, Wistia, or YouTube, and using our tool called Advanced Videos. That would be the best advice I've got in that category. Do you have anything to add to that, Will?
No, I like Vimeo Pro. That's kind of the best option, in my opinion.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other video hosts out there. If it really comes down to to budgetary reasons, you're like, well, I can't use YouTube because corporate says we can't put our stuff on YouTube, but I don't have the budget for Vimeo. There are less expensive video hosts out there, but then you're dealing with something that Advanced Videos wasn't built for. So if you need those other features, then you probably need to come up with another solution, get creative. But I'll put the list to one of our resources. Put here resource to Advanced Videos in the chat, and then we'll add that to the screen so that everybody that's watching or listening will have the ability to kind of jump in and see where that is. There we go. All right. And then Tom had another one. It says, I want to give people a chance to write down that link because it's a long link. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. All right. Any experience dropping Lifter into WP Engine, leveraging their WooCommerce and Stripe Connect, etc.? So, Will, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say weird things. The WP Engine isn't really required, I don't think, in this question, because almost any hosting, we have these tools, right? So LifterLMS integrates with WooCommerce. We also have a direct integration with Stripe. And so either way, and you could be on Cloudways, you could be on 20i, you could be on WP Tonic, you could be almost anywhere and still have no problem whatsoever dropping Lifter into that environment. And so, again, we have a direct integration with WooCommerce. We also have a direct integration with Stripe. So regardless of your hosting environment, we should be able to integrate for you without any real heartache or hoop jumping through. Does that make sense, Will?
Yeah. I've done a good amount of work with WP Engine. WooCommerce and Stripe Connect work well with Lifter as long as you have your Lifter WooCommerce extension going. I'd recommend buying that add-on, reading the doc, and you should be good with WP Engine.
Shazam. I love all that. Saran had a follow-up question about the video stuff, and it was more about privacy. It says, I have a requirement where course creators want to put their videos private and share or embed that link under a LifterLMS lesson. Well, there's the terms and conditions of YouTube that have something to say that if you have an unlisted video in YouTube, you can't really generate revenue for it in a private site, I believe. Mm-hmm. But Vimeo is a paid service. So Vimeo also has services where you can mark something as private or only able to show with this URL, kind of like URL publishing permissions. And so I really recommend that you would take a look at the Vimeo services, specifically Vimeo Pro, and then know that you could just embed that directly into Lifter and get the benefits of the Vimeo protection within your website. So that would work out really well. And then we might have an opportunity for you to do another screen share, Will.
Yeah.
You say his name, because apparently I've screwed it up.
This is like an SH at the end.
Matouche. One more question. How to copy one of my LifterLMS courses from one website to another website. Just one course, not the whole WordPress site. And
yeah.
We'll go through a screen share with you and show you real quickly. We've got an import-export tool.
Yeah, so all LifterLMS installs come with this out of the box. It's a part of the free core plugin. You can move content from your demo site to your live site. I don't recommend putting a lot of content in your demo site, but you can. So LifterLMS, you might have noticed there's an import option. right here in the left-hand side menu. When you come to this page, it asks you to upload a JSON file from your computer. Where we get that file is from courses. All of our courses out of the box, no add-ons required, have this export option right there. So I can just go ahead and click that export. It thinks for a second and it saves to my computer. Now, depending on the size of your course, might take a second, but once you have that file on your computer, you can go to import courses, upload, and then I'm going to grab it's going to ask me to choose a file. I'm going to choose from my downloads this JSON file I just downloaded. We're just imagining I went to a different website, but click import, thinks for a minute, and now I should have another copy right here. So I have 2 saving strategy courses now. And so that is a really cool feature. Pretty simple to go from Lifter to Lifter.
Awesome. You know, I've used the import and export tool quite a bit, Will, as you know, because I'm not very focused. So I have a Kurt Von Anna website, a Manana no Mas website, a leadership website, and some of those sites will share courses. So I'll have a course I put on Manana no Mas, and I go, oh, that really would fit well on the leadership site. And so I'll literally just export it, import it, and then know that once you import it, it's an independent file. It's not tied to the other site. So you can modify it, change, you know, the titles of lessons, whatever you want to do. It's independent. So it's not synced or connected. It's an actual, you know, export and import process. So once you have it moved over to the other site, you can do whatever you want with it. Now that's going from a Lifter site to another Lifter site. But if you're watching this right now, and let's say you're in LearnDash, there is a tool where you could export your courses from LearnDash to LifterLMS. And that is, I always forget the name of their company, but it's
Honors WP. Honors WP.
Honors WP. That's it. Honors WP has a product called Transfer, and that transfer tool will allow you to kind of cross platforms and bring stuff over. Now, there's a lot of options with that. You could transfer users, results. I mean, there's all kinds of things, but the be all end all is don't feel like you're in some walled garden that you can't get out of. There's generally almost always an option to get out of something and into what you want. And not for nothing, there is an experts link on LifterLMS. That's lifterlms.com/experts, lifterlms.com/experts. And there's a whole list of vetted experts there that you can hire out to help you with things that either you need help with or that you just don't want to do.
For sure. The experts link is a good link to have. It's surprising how much value you can get from consulting with an expert for just an hour or 2 hours to get you in the right direction if you feel like you're stuck. It really accelerates that time that it takes to launch your website by getting oriented in the right direction.
Nice. Well, it looks like Saran's going to take our advice and go to Vimeo Pro. At least he's going to check it out. Yeah. He says, thanks, Will. So that's a big pat on the back for you there. And just a shout out to the guys kicking in on this episode. We started out with no questions, and we've almost filled the hour. So thank you so much for jumping in, asking your questions, and participating. We've got another one from Matush, and you should have asked this one at the beginning because this could be a whole episode by itself. What plugins do you recommend for multilingual e-learning with LifterLMS? We talk about this in office hours quite a bit. I would think hosting's a big one. Language use is a big one. Payment gateways is another point of conversation a lot. But yeah, language is a big one. And I'm going to go out on a limb and tell you 2 plugins that I've used that I've had great success with. One is called Translate Press, and then the other one is called DeepL. So Translate Press is kind of like the engine. It's kind of like the tool that does the translation. And then DeepL is like an augmentation for that elevates the translation quality. Hopefully I'm saying that in a way that makes sense and that people are with on that. So do you need both? No, you could probably try Translate Press and see if it meets your needs. But that DeepL is a deeper translation that generally comes up. And a lot of it comes down to use case. How many languages do you need? Is it just French and English? Is it Spanish and German? what do you need? My use case was pretty extreme. Will, I have a client that is actively selling training in a global market of something like 95 countries or something like that. I mean, and we've got 15 or 18 different languages in this website. I mean, Arabic and Greek and all these things. And I'm like, it's too confusing. And I'm not a linguistics expert. So I really had to depend on the tools, and we had really good luck with Translate Press and DeepL. But there's a ton of others out there. Well, didn't you use WPML for something?
I don't know. I use Loco Translate all the time. I think like the official Lifter recommendation is Loco Translate one site per language, but like Kurt said, there's more stuff coming out all the time, and I know at WP Tonic will use the DeepL Translate Press a lot.
The Loco Translate, the way that I've seen you be able to change, so for me, when I think of Loco Translate, and I know it can do a whole website, but I don't think of it in terms of like the whole site. I think of it like, I want to change this button. I want to change this category. I want to change this, what would normally be dynamic content that's locked in by the plugin. You can change stuff, like people want to change courses to workshops or change. That to me is one of the simplest ways to make that happen, was through Loco Translate. And if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have found it. But you're really sharp in that one.
Thank you. But yeah, there's a bunch of translate options available. So a few options that could work for you. I like the DeepL one. I like people using that because that's it's interesting to see new stuff come out. Because we got to have a point where we translate one website to every language. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So this is a good one. When do we have office hours? I have Infinity Bundle, LTD's lifetime deal license.
Yeah, awesome. Well, too bad you already signed into this call, Matush. You've used your store credit for today. That's not a thing. It's not a thing. I'm teasing. So if I were to tell you that this call started at 12 o'clock noon Central Time, I will tell you that office hours starts at 2 o'clock Central Time. So the office hours call starts 2 hours after the Ask Me Anything call, and you should have a link in your email for that.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 8 minutes from now. So like we're about to wrap up this call, and in 1 hour we'll be on again for that one. In like Kurt said, you got that Zoom link. You could email help@lifterlms.com and say, "Hey Kurt, where's the link?" I remember getting a bunch of those emails before, but you should have it. It says like when we're going live this week or something, or we're going live soon, something like that.
Yeah. There'll be a post going out on the Infinity Facebook page 5 minutes before the call, and I am not putting the link in this call. I'm not willing to deal with that today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but it is more interactive because it's a Zoom call and people get to banter back and forth and have conversation and help. And very rarely do I have to turn off somebody's microphone. All right. Will, where are you at with anything else? First off, I'm going to throw it out there that I put ask your questions in chat as that running banner beneath us. If you have any questions that you haven't asked yet, feel free to jump in the chat, put them in there. If you're going to hold off till next week, know that when you get the announcement for this call, there's a link in that announcement. You could put in your question ahead of the call. That way I know I've got something to talk about when I start the call, which works out really, really well. But here with where we're finishing up, Will, tell me what you got going on this week. Anything cool?
I'm doing a Buddy Boss app with LifterLMS, so we'll see if that ends up being cool. I think it will. I'm always like, please don't build an app, and the client's like, let's do an app, and I'm like, oh, all right. So we'll do it. But yeah, so I'm also doing. Am I doing anything else cool? All the sites we work on are cool, but just a bunch of consulting, just a bunch of hourly consulting. That's really it. And the app.
Nice. Well, Matush says, is the office hours call every week? It is every week, unless it falls on like New Year's and Christmas and Easter. But it wouldn't fall on Easter because Easter is always on a Sunday. So typically it's every Thursday, every week, unless there's some overarching holiday that we've taken off. But I think we did, probably 48, 49 episodes last year. So we don't take a lot of time off for that kind of stuff. As a reminder from the beginning of the show, folks, if you like what you hear, if you are interested in jumping on the LifterLMS train, this is your chance. You can take 55% off with our coupon here. You want to go to lifterlms.com, AMA-gift. So lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. If you have any questions, concerns, anything like that, you can reach out at help@lifterlms.com, help@lifterlms.com. We'll answer any kind of your pre-sales questions there, or obviously take them here online as well. If you've got them, pop them into the comments.
Sweet.
So where can people see you over the next week or so, Will? What do you got going on? I know you got Feature Friday.
Yeah. So I'm always Feature Friday now on Tuesdays. So you can catch us me and Chris next Tuesday talking about something. I should say what it is. Let me look. The thing next week is require gravity form submission on lesson. Okay, so there we go. That's next week. If you want to learn how to have a form be required on lesson, you'll see Feature Friday next week. And I'm also WP course guide on YouTube, or Magic Will Middleton. If you Google that one's a bit dangerous to Google that. But what are you up to, Kurt?
Multiple shows a week. So I did a Mañana No Mas interview for my podcast this last week. That's going up today or tomorrow with the post edit. And then obviously I'm hooked in with WP Tonic for the WP Tonic show and for the Membership Machine show, and then the stuff here at LifterLMS. We also have a couple of really cool projects that are wrapping up. And so it's exciting when someone grabs you off the experts list and says, oh, hey, can you help me with this, and this? And then you lay out what you think is a simple process. And then you talk to them more and you're like, that's not so simple anymore. Now what are you doing? And then everything starts to morph. It turns into a project. And this project initially should have been a 3-month project, but now it's looking more like an 11-month project. And the good news is I found out most of that before we signed any paperwork. So that should be launching here in the next couple of months. I'm pretty excited because we're really just waiting for them to get their lesson videos done editing so I can just pop them into place. Other than that, the rest of their website's really well structured. So I'm hoping they find success with it and that they have a good market for it. And then, I worked with the Paul Mitchell people recently. So it's interesting to see where they're going. They're doing a little bit of a redesign right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, we've got the discount. Here's where I was thinking, like before you asked me that question, where my mind was at. I was struck this week as I was going through some of the questions in our Facebook page, and someone had asked, and you'll laugh, right? But it was like, hey, how do I take the number of lessons out of the course catalog on the thumbnail page? And immediately I'm so used to these questions. Like, everyone wants to modify and change everything. And so at first I was like, oh, well, you probably need to do CSS, blah, blah, all this nonsense. And then like a half hour, 40 minutes later, I was like, LifterLMS Labs. It's the option in there to turn it off. Mm-hmm. And so it's amazing to me, just retroactively reflecting back, right? Just going, think about all of the nooks and the crannies and the features and the options in this platform, and how everybody wants to have some kind of a unique experience. But remember that when you're building something, especially if you're new at this, a lot of what you're asking for isn't technically unique. It's been a feature that's built in somewhere, somehow. We just have to figure out where it is. So Will's showing you right now the Action Manager. You can go down to course and membership catalogs, and you can turn off lessons right there. Anything you check on that screen basically turns off the dynamic content that would get posted out. And now you'll see when he refreshes the screen that the number of lessons is no longer displayed in the tile. And so, you don't have to be a coding expert to figure all this stuff out in Lifter. A lot of it is plug and play, no code solutions. And when you run into problems, you can hit us up at support. Remember, if you are a bundle user, you've got access to priority support. So you can just put in a support ticket. Otherwise, you can do help@lifterlms.com. You can jump into the Facebook group, or you can jump into this call once a week and ask us questions. With that, Will, we are at the top of the hour, man. I think we're going to wrap it up. Are you good?
I'm good.
Let's say goodbye then. Let's do the, where'd it go? I'm in the wrong thing again. I'm always in the wrong thing.